We just did a live last night, but I think that you're going to really enjoy this live today. So in this conversation, we're going to be speaking with Tacy Chalk. She's going to be kind of opening up about her missionary experience at two of the most meaningful and historic Latter-day Saint locations, Nauvoo and Carthage Jail specifically. Correct, Tacy?
Yes.
Yeah. So she's going to hopefully share with us what it was like serving there, and then near the end, we might open up with some question and answers potentially, or maybe just even some comments from the addressing comments from the in the comment section. So as you guys kind of come in, make sure you try and drop where you're watching from, or potentially what things you want to know about the service mission opportunity. So Tacy, why don't you kind of just let us know a little bit about yourself and the experiences and like the locations specifically. We'll kind of get into conversation.
Yeah. So you guys already know I'm Tacey and I'm from Arizona, born and raised here my whole life, pretty much same neighborhood too. But yeah, a little bit in 2024, I got the opportunity to serve a mission and I surprisingly got called to the Illinois Historic Sites. Had no idea what that was, but after I learned what it was, I got super excited and it just sounded like it was going to be a ton of fun and it was awesome. Um, to kind of describe it as best as I can, Nauvoo is like its own like bubble. It just the spirit resides there in such a powerful way. And it's so cool to be able to be in that and serve in that for 6 months. And the way my mission worked in those historical sites was you serve there for 6 months, go out proselyting in the winter for 6 months, and then come back, finish off the rest of your mission in Nauvoo and Carthage area.
Oh, so they got you at the proselyting mission as well, but in
Yep.
the winter,
Yep.
though.
I served in New Jersey, Morristown, so that was so
In the
Oh
winter.
wow.
fun. It
So
was freezing, but it was fun.
yeah, that's interesting because the service missionaries that we had here, well, actually, not the service missionaries, the proselyting missions we had at my last ward were sisters,
Mhm.
and it seemed like we were getting a lot of sisters from the San Diego historic site. There's a historic site in San Diego,
The
if I'm not
Mormon
mistaken.
Battalion, yes.
Mormon Battalion, yeah. And so, yeah, I always thought that was fascinating. But
Yeah.
yeah, can you tell us a little bit about like what that experience or like what exactly the day to day of that service mission was like?
Yes. So, it was really good. It was kind of it was like it's considered a proselyting mission, but we don't actually go out and proselyte. So 9 to 5 is serving in the sites. So you wake up, work out, of course, the same missionary routine, but by 9 o'clock you're supposed to be in your site, ready to serve, and then you stay stationed at wherever you're supposed to be. So that could be anywhere from the Joseph Smith sites, or even to Heber C. Kimball's home, or maybe Jonathan Browning's home and the gunsmith shop and all of that, and you just stay there until 5 o'clock. And oftentimes you give after hour tours, just people that are coming in late because we know they've traveled a long time and want to be able to see those sites. And so then after that, it's kind of a matter of trying to make sure you stay busy and keep your missionary purpose. So that included going to meetings, as we had almost in the peak of the summertime, we had almost 300 missionaries, probably a little bit over. That included site missionaries, teamsters that took care of the horses and stuff. There was performing missionaries. They were service missionaries. They served for about 3 to 4 months. Um, and we also had people that take care of the grounds that were called as missionaries. So we met with them occasionally, and then we just studied. We had the opportunity in that mission. The Nauvoo temples within 5 minutes of wherever you were living there, unless you were out in Carthage, and we got to go study there, and we got the opportunity to go there every P day as we wanted to.
So the Teamsters, how are they called? Is just kind of like the grounds service missionaries, or is that like
Yeah.
they're just recruiting from some of the best ranches in Florida, or whatever.
Yeah, from what I've learned talking to those missionaries, the senior missionaries, they say when they put in their papers, because a lot of them know about Nauvoo, which I didn't realize that, but they'll put, excuse me, they'll put in that they drive horses for a living, or they've always worked around horses, and so they're more likely to get picked and brought in because they also get to work with oxen as well. So if they
Oh,
have that
okay.
experience with horses, yeah,
Yeah,
they
it's super
can
cool.
be more likely to be picked.
That's awesome. Mike,
Yeah.
Mike, do you have anything for Tacy?
Well, really, so here's what happens. And I think I told you, Sam, but maybe I didn't. But Tacey and her sister left on their missions really close to each other, and then they came back, and her sister came back first. She left first too, and they decided to do their like homecoming. That's not a homecoming talks on the same day, and they killed it. They're this just so you guys. I love this family. Her dad's just one of the men I love the most in the world, and um, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to try to get them on social media, helping the church out some way, somehow. Let's keep that missionary energy going. And the first thing I thought of was Tacey has some really fun stuff about church history to say from her mission. I've never been to any of these sites. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've literally known Tacey since she was like running around the hallways, climbing up the walls. And
Yes.
it's really fun that now she gets to come back and teach me because I've been her primary teacher. And
Oh wow.
and so
Hey,
we're
you don't look
turning
that
the
old. You don't look
mission
that
around.
old.
I moved into this ward when we were 25.
Yeah,
So
that's wild.
yeah.
Well, so no, no. I mean, when you recommended the this like encounter or this experience,
Mhm.
or the opportunity to speak with Tacy, I had to look up some of the historical sites. I haven't personally been to any of them outside of the visitor center at ooh mm, Independence, right?
Okay.
That's more than
Yes.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the Independence site, and that was on our way out west. So as we were driving west, we stopped in Independence, Missouri. Right, that's the Temple Lot area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm got the right one. Okay, yeah. So we stopped there, but yeah, we didn't get to go north to like Adam on Ammon, and then Carthage and like all of those places are relatively close to that area. I mean, they're not too far from Independence, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, you're our resident expert.
Yeah, she would
Um,
know.
yeah. It was
15
about
hours from me. 15 hours from me. I'm in North Carolina, so I
uh-huh.
looked up the sites, but yeah.
Yeah, it was about like 4 to 5 hours. That was something that was really cool. My mission president did. He got approval from I think it was the first presidency or something, but he actually took us on immersion trips so that we would know the history coming in and going out, so we can relate it all better to Nauvoo. So it's kind of like a 4 to 5 hour drive. I did get to go to the visitor center in Independence as well, so that was really cool that you got to go as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's more than me, Sam. I've been to none. I've been to the San Diego sites and some
Well,
sites in Utah. You know,
Well, I don't know. You're in, yeah, but you're
I'm
in
in Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah. So, I mean, does that really, have you guys, okay. So I don't know who it was that I spoke with, and it might have been, if I'm not mistaken, it might have been you, Mike. They had the moving tabernacle, the tabernacle they'd bring from like
Oh,
stakes
I
to
haven't
stakes.
been to see that either. Yeah, no.
Okay. But you have heard of it though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently that's a thing. I'm excited to see if if they've continued that or if they decide to bring it over here to the West Coast, or if they already have, or the East Coast rather. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's exciting. But I mean, Mesa, Arizona, you guys have quite a bit of since your guys' proximity to Mesa. I don't think you're in Mesa, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. No, we're pretty close though.
Yeah. So you guys have all. Do they still do the pageant and everything?
Yeah, the Mesa
Think
Temple.
so,
So
Yeah.
yeah.
you guys are in the Mecca. You guys are in the Mecca of like all
Well,
uh,
like I told you last night, Sam,
apologetics.
all the anti-Mormon guys live here, so
Oh
clearly
yeah,
we're doing something right.
yeah. You sure are. You sure are. So yeah, let's kind of get into like I guess your kind of your daily responsibilities or like what that specifically look like. Because
Mhm.
I am somewhat familiar with the and I don't know, correct me if you know this, the names of the service missions where you would perform. Because there are performative like service missions, correct?
I
Where you
believe
kind of do
so.
like the plays and stuff. Kind of
Oh,
like
yes. Yep.
yes, I don't know what those are called, but that wasn't actually what you were doing, correct?
Mm-mm. So those were kind of like close to what we were called. We were like site missionaries. They were called performing missionaries, but they would
Oh, okay.
actually audition for that. And
Oh,
so there'd be tons of people, but only 20, I think it's 20 missionaries would be picked to actually perform. And for a little while, a lot of people don't know this unless they come. We have the Nauvoo Brass Band. So people are also auditioned for that, and they'll be able to come in and be able to play for us, but they only stayed during the summertime.
Awesome.
Oh,
You did have one.
there's yeah.
You did have one question from Kiori. Does she still climb up the walls?
Of course.
What is it? What is
Not
she?
that I've
Sorry.
noticed, but apparently,
Referring to when she was a kid.
yeah.
Depending on where they cut off the carpet on the walls is dependent on how high you can actually climb on them.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So do you have any did you get to experience anything in particular that was like overly like, wow, this is like not what I expected? Or how was that transition between your service and your proselyting mission? Because I'm assuming you went to the MTC, correct?
Yes, I did. So, with the MTC, it's of course the normal proselyting 3 weeks training, but the time that I was there, it's changed now. They had a week of tour training. So you would kind of learn a little bit about Nauvoo and then learn a little bit how to give tours. And we actually got to go see the Church History Museum and different things like that. And then we got sent out. But the change for me, it started. I love Nauvoo and everything, but once we get to a certain time in the months, like September time, it started dying down. And so I was like ready to like continue to get busy because there was just a lot of studying in the sites while waiting for guests to come in and people to come in. And so for me, the transition wasn't too bad. It was just transitioning to another mission where I'm just still teaching people just in a different way.
Mhm. So what? Well, I have some certain sites I want to ask you about, right?
Mhm.
And some specific stories or details from like your greatest hits. There's way too much for us to cover. You were
Yeah.
saying it would take in person like 3 days to a week to really absorb just the Nauvoo sites, right?
Yeah.
But I do want to ask because when you first came home and I was asking you like, hey, what was transformative about your mission and what do you do next? And you really said you loved your time as a proselyting sister missionary in Baltimore. Um, Tell us about what that was like, and then let's kind of juxtapose that against like your site missionary service, and we'll go into some of those sites. Why don't you tell us about what it was like in Baltimore for you?
Yeah, sorry. I was in New Jersey,
Oh, Jersey. Why did I say
Newark
Baltimore? I
area.
kept doing
No,
that.
my bad. You're good. Um, but it was just really good. I stayed in the same area for 4 transfers, the 4 transfers I was there, and it was a lot of just the finding that I did was street contacting, which I loved. So you just go out on the streets and talk to everybody. And that was the best thing because all you had to do is make sure that you talk to everybody. Even if they're sitting in their cars, you go knock on their window and ask if they want to learn more about Jesus Christ. And it was my favorite because those are a lot of times the people that ended up like more coming to church. But it was just so fun getting to talk to all these different people, but it was a lot of us finding those people. And the cool thing, kind of switch of going back to the historical sites, is those people come to you. And so those people are a lot of time they're already prepared because they're making the time to come out to there and to learn more. And a lot of times it is people that are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and they're bringing their families. And it was cool because a lot of people would bring their kids hoping that they could learn something important from the sites. And so it was cool to be able to focus a lot on the youth, um, while serving in the historical sites, but also just getting to talk to anybody and everybody in New Jersey as well. It was just my favorite. I loved it.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
when you were serving as a service missionary at the historical sites, did you just fall under a ward, or like how did that work with meals and stuff?
We didn't get fed meals. We weren't a part of a specific ward because we weren't necessarily proselyting. We were site missionaries. So we were teaching in the sites only. And so we had our own ward that was just missionaries.
Oh,
It was
okay,
Oh,
okay.
crazy. Yeah,
That does sound crazy. Yeah.
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 Um, we would all meet together. There was, again, a lot of us, so we had to meet in a big space, and we couldn't overwhelm a ward with how many people we had. But our mission president was like the bishop and everything, and so all these senior missionaries, the elders, would be the ones passing the sacrament. So it's not young men, and oftentimes sacrament was dead silent, which was a little weird, but it was really fun.
Yeah, it's awesome. So you probably then had like it was everybody from the service mission.
Yeah,
right?
it
So
was a lot. There
you
was a
had
lot.
like all those the Teamsters you talked about, or the people that work the grounds too. I'm assuming, or no?
Hmm.
They were all
Um,
part of the ward, or is it just the younger service missionaries?
it was a lot of site missionaries and the older site missionaries, the Teamsters and everything. And then we would get grounds missionaries as well that would come in, but they would send off the senior missionaries to go help in other wards as well. So they kind of
Oh,
like
gotcha.
spread out, but we as young sister missionaries were always there.
Yeah.
So were they the ones that fed you guys then, or no? The
Yeah,
older service
sometimes they
missionaries.
would,
Okay.
which was really sweet of them.
Yeah, we have great. So since I'm near a military base, we have
Hmm.
military relations service missionaries, and
Hmm.
I guess they'd be called military relations missionaries. I don't know if there's a service after that, but yeah, they're great. They're older. We have about 4 or 5 sets in our area, and like yeah, they'll. I actually had the opportunity to have them come over and eat with us, and it was great. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah,
That's
so that's the only
awesome.
reason why I bring it up, because I just wondered like logistically like who you guys would fall under that would get
Yeah.
that big roster of people to potentially feed, you know. Which you're right,
Yes.
that would very much like overwhelm a ward for sure.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to
All
think
right.
of like I didn't actually prepare to look up any videos on it, but is there any? I think I'm gonna look up one right now. If you guys don't mind,
Mm.
I might pull it up. Kind of react to it. What are some of the more exciting things that you did? The more exciting locations for
Like in
sites?
Nauvoo area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I think I don't know about I guess my favorite ones specifically was Joseph Smith's home.
Mm.
When we got that, I got or the church acquired those sites right when I started my mission.
That's
So when I
right.
was going into the MTC is when we got those sites.
Oh,
And they were just oh sorry,
yeah.
go for it.
No. Yeah, please continue.
You're good. But it was so cool to be able to serve in his home because it's his original house. Those three sites that are together in one tour called the Joseph Smith Homestead, they're all original structures. So it's cool to literally be standing in the same space that Joseph and his family did and be able to learn and relive all those stories or to be able to tell people about them and they're able to see how important these people were and also I like the aspect of learning that he wasn't just a prophet like he was a husband he was a father and he was a really good friend to people and it made it a lot easier to relate to him and relate help people to relate to him so that was definitely
Mm.
one of my favorite aspects of it.
That's awesome. Yeah, actually, I pulled up a video. Let's share this real quick. So this is not what you did,
Mm-mm.
but this is the 2025 fall cast.
Yes, I actually recognize that or recognize that
You
missionary.
know her? Yeah.
Yeah, you recognize these people?
Yep.
Okay, so this is intense. Could you imagine like
Hmm.
is this what you were okay, so when you open up your letter, is this what
Hmm.
you were expecting initially? Or
No, and I'm gonna
what were
be
you
dead
expecting?
honest.
Yeah.
I didn't know what Nauvoo was, and I didn't know I could get called to historical sites when I was putting in for a proselyting mission. So
That would
it
be
was all a
very
surprise to
intense.
me.
That would be very intense to think that like you open it up and you're like, "Wait, what?
Yeah,
What
because
am I doing?"
it's like the only part I knew of my call was Illinois, and I was like, "What?" But it's literally the best place ever. I love it.
No, so this isn't the one. This is the one actually I wanted to share. So I was just gonna kind of let it run in the background.
Oh, that's the okay.
And so this is the homestead, correct?
Yes, this
So
looks like an older one. That fence is still brown.
oh, did you guys paint it white?
It's been white since I've been there. I'm not sure when they did it.
This might be a little bit older,
Oh, but that's a house
but
though. That's that two part.
That is Joseph Smith's
Yeah.
home.
oh
Oh
wow.
yeah, there we go.
Yes, that's probably one of the most special things is after these people come through his home and go to Carthage Jail, they're able to come and see where they're actually buried today.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Supposedly where they're buried. Oh, you guys don't have any speculation on that? No,
I
No.
don't.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so this would be okay. So kind of walk me through if I were to be visiting, what would I be looking at here? This would be just Joseph Smith's house, correct?
Yes, that right there is his home. So we encourage people to go there either while they're waiting for a tour or after they finish the Homestead, the red brick store, because right off to your side there, the opposite side of Joseph Smith's home is the red brick store. They're very close together. And
Okay.
so it's special to be able to go and learn about those things as and then be able to come and see where they're laid to rest now.
So tell us
Um,
about the red brick store a little bit more then. What's
yeah.
special about that place?
I love the red brick store. That's actually where I got to finish off my mission. That's the last site I got to serve in. But there, that was built up in 1842. And we also just just acquired that from the Community of Christ in 2024 as well. We're really grateful for everything that they did to take care of those sites, and we still say that at the beginning of our tours, which I really appreciate that as well. But there, that was where a lot of different events took place, but ultimately Joseph Smith started that so that he could provide the saints with things that they didn't have during the winter time. Simple things like sugar and molasses and raisins. And he was just so excited on the opening day of the store. It opened up January 5th, 1842. Um, but all the saints were coming in, grabbing all these things that they needed. And it did so well that he even wrote a letter to his friend Edward Hunter, who has a home in Nauvoo. He was like, "It's been going so good." And I can get an exact quote if you want to, but it was more sophisticated than "it's going so good."
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's
he
awesome.
also, you get to see, sorry, more into his personality throughout all these sites. Saints would come in and he knew that they wouldn't be able to pay for the things that they were asking for, but he was such a tender-hearted person and prophet. And so he gave people stuff on store credit a lot, which you can imagine that wouldn't be good knowing they wouldn't be able to pay you back, but he just loved the saints so much. Um, but again, that wasn't the only purpose of that store. That's actually where the Relief Society was formed. That's where the first full endowment was given. And that's also where the priesthood keys were turned over to the Quorum of the 12 Apostles to be able to fully lead and guide the church. And so it's a really special place. He translated the book of Abraham in there. Um, he also did a lot of his editorial duties in there. So I'm sure John Taylor was in there working with him. He had Willard Richards, and these two men are his apostles, or some of his apostles, the ones that worked most closely to him during those times. But it's just so neat to be able to bring people into that space. And it's a lot larger than you would expect. It's a very long walkway, and then you get to take everybody upstairs to where those three very special events would actually be able to take place. Um, and for the Relief Society, I will backtrack a little bit. It starts on the other side of town in a home of Sarah Granger Kimball. So she was a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and her husband was not. So kind of a cool little, I guess, duo to think about there, that they were able to have different religious beliefs, but be able to still come together and be unified. There's their home. That's original as well, which is kind of cool that it stood that long. Used to have a lot of stuff that was added onto it. But she was really good friends with her seamstress, who was Margaret Cook. And from, I don't know if it'll end up showing in this video, but you can see out the window the Nauvoo temple. And so every day
That's
she would
cool.
be able to see the temple rising, and they both wanted to help to build the temple, but they didn't know how. But they did notice that the men's shirts were super torn up. They were getting very dirty and ripped up in just a short amount of time. And Margaret, she said that she wanted to be able to help, but she didn't have the means to. But luckily, Sarah, she did have the means to. And so they were like coming together to be able to, um, sorry, lost my train of thought. But they were coming together to be able to sew more shirts. It was just going to be a sewing society. They actually asked other women if they wanted to come in and help as well. And so, if I'm remembering the number correctly, I believe it was 12 to 13 women that were gathered together in that house to create this sewing society to be able to help with the building of the temple. And they wrote up a constitutional bylaws and everything for their society, and they showed it to the prophet Joseph Smith. And I love this because it shows how much Joseph cares about these women and how grateful he is for them as well. He said that it was the best constitution and bylaws he had ever seen. And he told them, but this is not what you want. The Lord has something greater in store for you. And so he
Boy, did he have
invited
something.
them.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. He invited them to the red brick store that following Thursday, which was March 17th of 1842. And I love picturing this. It's a wide open space in that upper floor of the red brick store. And there's 20 women gathered in there, just so excited to hear what the prophet could have in store for them. Because he promised the women, and these are his words as well, I will organize the women under the priesthood after the pattern of the priesthood. That must be so exciting to hear that they have such a big role to play in the church and that the Lord has something like that in store for them. So you can imagine how exciting it must be for those women that are gathered together in there. And soon enough, John Taylor comes in, and with him, he has John Taylor and Willard Richards. And I think I might have said John came in. Joseph, John, and Willard. Sorry, there's a lot of names coming together. But, excuse me, let me grab a drink real quick. I'm talking a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
No, I'm liking this. So obviously they had a interior designer that did their interior design here at Sarah Granger's house.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I'm certain I saw that I paused on that pizza oven. I'm certain they put out some bomb pizzas out of that thing.
I'm
No,
sure.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It would be
But,
awesome. We had a lot of those. Those were kind of fun.
um,
But sorry, did you have a question or anything?
no, no. So actually, there is one question.
Uh-huh.
This is from LDS Scooby.
Mhm.
He said, "Wasn't the red brick building where the first endowments were performed in the upper floors?"
Yes, it was. That's actually what the event that takes place after the Relief Society is formed. It kind
Mhm.
of leads into both of them. It's so cool. I promise I will answer that. So
Yeah.
sorry. I'm a geek about Nauvoo stuff, so I'm just
Yeah.
excited. But with the Relief Society gathered in there, they weren't the Relief Society yet. But Joseph comes in and he asks them to pick a president for their society. And all the women come together and decide that Emma Smith is the best person for this role. And Joseph Smith, he stands up and declares that this fulfilled a revelation that he had received for her, or a blessing he gave her years prior. That's in Doctrine and Covenants 25. But it said that she would be able to expound the scriptures and to, I believe it says, exhort the church as well,
Yeah.
which is special because she would be able to do that. She was that elect lady that she was told that she was. She picked two counselors, which I always forget their names, but she would be, or her counselors would be Sarah Cleveland and Ann Whitney. So then they were asked to come to the front and kind of continue the rest of the meeting. So Joseph and his apostles went and allowed them to be able to continue. And so then they had to decide on a name for their society, which they're kind of going between benevolent and relief, which is kind of a funny little thing. They went back and forth, but it was very respectful conversation of going back and
I'm
forth.
really glad they didn't go with benevolent society.
Yes, I am too.
The shortening
The
of that one
benevolent society.
wouldn't have been so good. We do RS and
Mm-mm.
EQ. I'm not so
Yes.
certain that BS would be quite too
Yeah.
quite too good. But yeah,
Yes. And they had a good reason for not going with that too. A lot of those societies that were named after benevolent societies, they were often corrupt, as Emma Smith would say.
okay,
But
okay.
they didn't stand for what they said that they did. And some people said that relief sounded like they were going to relieve a prisoner of his sentence or something like that. or that they were going to do something extraordinary. And this is why I just continue to just love Emma Smith, because she says we are going to do something extraordinary. We expect extraordinary occasions and pressing calls. And I love that because that ends up unifying everybody, and they decide that they need to be named the Nauvoo Female Relief Society, which is kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
But with that, they continue to grow and grow. They outgrow that red brick store, which actually can fit about 80 young sister missionaries in there. So you can imagine adults fitting in there. Um, but they continue to meet with the prophet, and he teaches them all the things that they'll be able to do. And the society, they are able to help the poor and needy that are coming in and be able to meet the needs of everybody in the church that's there, and be able to teach them about their Savior, Jesus Christ, and about the restored gospel, and be able to just welcome everybody in just like the Savior would as well. And because this happened, Joseph Smith, I think he also knew, because he told, I'm not sure who he told, but he said, the church was never perfectly organized until the women were thus organized. And so, literally, just several weeks later, on May 4th, still in 1842, Joseph Smith invited 9 men into that upper floor. And this is kind of answering that one question on there. So, that space kind of just looks like a bunch of chairs and some shelves right now. But when these men walked in, that room had completely transformed. There was little trees and shrubs around in there, kind of showing a garden setting, and there was a rug that sectioned off part of the room. And Joseph would then teach the men about the endowment. And he taught them that it was a gift from God and for their knowledge and power of his plan of redemption that he had for them. So those men, they came in, they learned about the creation of the world, the fall of Adam and Eve, and they also learned how they would be able to be redeemed through their Savior, Jesus Christ, and through his atonement. And they would learn how they would be able to just come back to their Heavenly Father eventually, which must have been so special for those men to learn. Just
Hmm.
me being an endowed member, how important it was for me to learn that I have, like, there's just a plan that's laid out for each of us, and learning how much love our Heavenly Father has for us, and being able to know that that happened right there in the red brick store,
So
which is, yes,
so what is this picture then? This is first floor still, or is this second
that's
floor?
the upper floor. So that's where this event took place. It is a reconstructed building, but it's very similar to what it looked like.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, trying to look for examples and walkthroughs of the red brick storehouse is very difficult. I don't know if
Yes,
that's on purpose or the
there
church has
might
locked
be
down the so
there might be some on Google Maps if you look up old historic Nauvoo. I know some people have occasionally taken pictures there, but yeah, I guess not a ton of people post them or anything. But it's
yeah,
kind of
so
cool. Oh, sorry, go for it.
well yeah, we used to so the Community of Christ used to own these buildings.
Mhm.
So it wasn't until so this is a relatively new mission then, relatively speaking, correct?
So Nauvoo has been, or the Illinois Historic Sites has been a mission for a while. We just acquired these two sites, so there's a bunch of other ones. We just didn't give tours at these two places,
Okay,
or I guess four in total.
until they were acquired by the church.
Hmm.
Okay, wow. Yeah, yeah, there is quite a bit on here. So that's actually how it's set up right now then. That's the
Yep,
current. Okay.
there's tons of chairs in there.
Oh yeah. So what are okay, so this is something this is like a little clip. So is this what it might have looked like when you
Oh,
were
that's
serving?
actually me and my past companion. They're not supposed to take
No.
videos in there.
Is that you up there? That is
Who?
you up there.
That's actually
Ha!
me.
Who, right here or right here? Is this you
That
right
I'm
here?
in the darker dress. Yeah.
Is that the
That's
dress I
wild.
recognize, Tacey? Is that
Yep,
the one
that's
you
the
were
dress I wore for
rocking?
my homecoming talk
I
as
thought it
well.
was green. Yeah.
Who's
I
out
kind of
here
remember
taking
that.
videos in there?
That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
that's awesome. What are in these? Just like storage
I
for random
Most
stuff
of them
or
are kind of locked right now. I tried to open them. But some of them have chairs in it. Last time
Okay.
I checked, some of them had chairs in it,
So
which is
so
kind of
this
funny.
was this the room that they actually like is this the room that they had the drapes in and whatnot, the story you were telling?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Did have they ever talked about like potentially setting that back up as like something to walk through and see that you're aware of?
Maybe not that I know of, probably because we tell those three stories. And from what I've talked to about, or what I've talked to historians about, is they typically don't want them to focus on all the stuff in the room and they want you to focus more on the story. So maybe they'll put something in eventually, but probably not.
Yeah, we do have a question. Did you have a lot of people from the LDS offshoot branches come and visit? How did they view these places and events like the Q12 getting the keys?
So like, um, are they talking about like other people that branched off the LDS
Yeah,
church?
like the
Okay.
Yeah,
Bickertonites or
so
the Stringites.
RLDS, no, or not
Yeah,
Hmm.
Smith, but like, what are they called? The Stringerites
yeah,
or any of
Stringites.
Hmm.
those groups?
Mainly, we only had like if they were branched off of our church, it was mainly RLDS, Community Christ,
Yeah,
as they're called now, but mainly because they
they used
lived
to
in
own
that
it.
area for a while and
Yeah,
everything. Yeah.
and it was
That's all
probably
I really ran into.
it's interesting. I've heard that um, specifically with some of the other sites like the Kirtland Temple,
Hmm.
uh, before we had actually bought the site, it was the majority of the people visiting the sites were actually members of our church. And so what's really interesting about that is like it would be interesting to see like individuals from the Community of Christ church or denomination coming to visit and see like how we're being stewards of the sites now, because I'm
Hmm.
assuming the Community of Christ used to have their own tours and tour guides
Yeah.
and whatnot, and now that's being replaced with service missionaries like yourself who are actually speaking on some of these things. Correct?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're
So
there every single day,
that's
Monday
awesome.
through
Yeah, that's awesome.
Sunday.
I'm assuming obviously free to go through. No
Yes,
no
all the
cost. Yeah.
sites are completely voluntary. Blacksmith shop, even kids can come in, get a horseshoe that's made for them right there.
Ah,
Oh,
Um,
okay, cool.
that's
a lot of
cool.
people don't know there's a family living center where you make rope and stuff, dip
What?
candles and things like that.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
See, they
I
do
might
get
need
to
to go
keep
up
the
there.
rope. It's
I,
pretty cool.
I might have to make a
That's
little trip
cool.
up there to see if I can like learn some of those skills while I'm there. Yeah.
So,
It's
so I'm
pretty
gonna pull
fun.
out one of the random ones then. If you go to the Browning shop, do you get to make a gun?
Uh,
No, but we do show you how to make the barrel of a gun with the same tools they would have.
Oh, serious?
Yep.
seriously.
Okay, wait. Now
Hmm.
you got to talk about that one.
Now I'm
Let's
interested.
talk about.
Mike,
Well, first, yeah.
Mike, let
Well,
me know. Let me know when you're headed this way, and I'll meet you.
yeah. We'll circle back around. We'll do a loop. But okay,
Yeah.
so I didn't even know that John Browning was a member of the church at this era of the church. I thought it was later. In
Yeah.
fact, my brain, I thought it wasn't until after the Civil War, because he got famous and very
Uh,
wealthy because of the Civil
mhm.
War, right? Selling all them rifles. So when I
Yes.
saw this, and this was tonight when I saw this for the first time, that the Browning gun shop is in Nauvoo, I got
Hmm.
really excited. Uh,
Yes.
it's not as exciting as a red brick store or nearly as important as Joseph Smith's home and all that stuff,
Hmm.
but I think
Yeah,
this is fun.
you're immediately drawn to like this stuff that's just like
This, yeah, personally
totally.
interesting. So what is his conversion story that you know, and about his family and life and everything in Nauvoo?
Yeah. So I love this story because it shows like a lot of like curiosity with Jonathan. But Jonathan and his wife, Elizabeth, they always kind of lived in Illinois area. They ended up moving, but they stayed there for quite a few years. And they were staying in a town called Quincy. And Quincy is where a lot of the saints actually fled after all the persecution they received after the Liberty Jail time and everything. And so Quincy was one of the first towns that actually like took them under their wing. And so you can imagine there's tons of saints at this time, and then all just flooding into this town. You'd probably be pretty intrigued by these people, and that was the case for Jonathan Browning. And so he wasn't like other saints where they kind of just like it wasn't a bad thing or anything, but a lot of saints would just jump right in. Like they're like, I want to be baptized right now. Jonathan, he wanted to take his time in his conversion process. So he actually studied for, I believe it was 2 years. Don't quote me on that number for sure, but it took a couple of years for him to learn more about what they believe. So I'm sure that included reading the Book of Mormon and understanding, was Joseph Smith a prophet and how that impacted him and what the saints or this new church believed about Jesus Christ. And what he learned, he came to know that it was true. And so he got baptized in August 1840. I know that because I have my little side guide right here. I'm not
Nice,
just
nice.
whipping these out. Um,
Perfect.
yes, but they got baptized, and from that point on, I love this quote from Jonathan. He said, I know in my heart I wish to assist in building up the kingdom of God and never be a clog to any of its wheels. So from that point on, he just decided he wanted to help in any way that he could, um, which is really cool because that included sharing his talent with others. So he didn't necessarily go out and serve a mission or anything, but he would teach other men how to make guns, provide them with that stability, that income. And a lot of people don't know this, and I didn't even know this, was asked by Brigham Young to stay in winter quarters as the Saints were moving west. And he stayed there for 6 years doing whatever was needed, which is so cool because you wouldn't ever really know that unless you went there or maybe you're digging deep into his history and stuff. But yeah, from 1840, they their family became members of the church. And his name really got popular from John Moses Browning, one of his sons. Because John Moses patented 128 different designs, especially during the war era that was going through. It was using, what did he use? It was the 30 caliber air cooled machine gun that was used in those wars, which probably got a lot of like movement to his name and knowing the Browning family, or the Browning name. Yeah, that one right there.
Mhm.
But
Phew.
that's cool because
Still
we
looks like
actually
a
do
beast.
have one of those in the house.
Okay, okay. The church is not messing around, huh? Church is not
Nope.
messing around.
And that's why
Mm-mm.
the elders can't be the site missionaries. They would mess around with it too much.
Yeah, that's intense. That's
Yeah.
super intense.
Oh, that's cool. That's the revolving action rifle. And that's an original one they have in his home. But
Oh,
basically took like a pistol that you see, but put it on a rifle.
Yeah,
And
more accurate. Oh,
yeah,
okay. That's
the
interesting for the time.
harmonica gun.
Oh, whoops.
man, well, you are your father's daughter, but man, you're all about the guns. Now, what is this one here? Oh, that's cool.
So that was owned by William Clayton.
Oh,
I'm not sure if I think it was made by Jonathan Browning, but I'm not for sure on that one. But the sword
mhm.
right above it was also owned by William Clayton, but he's the one that wrote Come Come Ye Saints. So if you guys know
Yeah.
that
Now
Yeah,
popular
that
hymn.
is William Clayton,
that's one
was
of the
he
best
like in the
hymns.
Nauvoo
One of the best hymns.
Legion? Is this from that, or is this from the Nauvoo Legion or something, or what's
The
the?
sword for sure it's called the
Okay,
Nauvoo Legion sword. I'm not sure about the
okay,
firearm, but I'm sure it could have been used during that time.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I don't know if it'll end up showing you, but in a box that's over it shows you a bunch of designs that were made by John Moses Browning. And then you'll turn around and you'll see
Oh,
his machine gun that's in there, and then the legacy that
oh,
continues on.
here we go. The 1911. Did
Ah,
you
the
There
get?
you
classic.
go.
Yeah,
Well, that's not the 1911, is it? I might be
is it?
mistaken.
Well, it doesn't have the straight handle that we're used to seeing, but it could be.
Well, I mean,
Hmm.
It's
18. Yeah,
45.
yeah, yeah. It's super cool. Super cool. Oh, is
Yeah.
this how they make the barrels, huh?
Yes. So that's actually how they made rifling on the inside.
Oh, okay.
It's got a little notch at the end of that rod he's holding onto. And I don't know if you can see in that blurry end, the barrel's actually clamped down into that
That's a
space.
barrel. Okay.
Hmm.
At the very end of
It's a
it.
very
Right here.
short one that they're
Yeah,
Right
right
using,
here.
there.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Super cool. Super cool. So, wow. Okay. Yeah,
that's
I've
like one of
really
the most fun places to be.
that's that's interesting. I never really like yeah, so curious is the M1911, not the M1911A1, which I'm assuming the A1 was the first variant that they probably mass produced. I'm assuming Curie, right? Or something. I don't know. Yeah, we're getting some. Oh yeah, what did they pay for that? Like 3 million? Is that
I have
when
no.
they bought that? I
Oh,
mean, they probably.
um,
I don't know.
and the Browning family helped fund a lot of things, like a lot of like donations because we're keeping the Browning name alive. I think that's why it was. But
Hmm.
the firearms were all donated
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and put in there. Um, and in the kitchen area, I don't know if you can find a picture of that, but we have some of Elizabeth Browning's original china and silver that was also donated by the Browning family. So the Browning family's been super awesome with helping us specifically with their home, which is really cool of them.
Well, so was their home
That's,
just attached to the? Is
yeah.
it this one right here? Is it just
So the
attached to the
home,
gunsmith?
yeah, so that top part is original, and then it led off to the other side. We're pretty sure that the where you see the sign above, sorry, I can't
Yeah.
describe things very well. But we're pretty sure where they keep the sign above would have been where his
Oh.
gunsmith shop was. So the rest would have been house or the
Oh,
house.
okay. Like over here.
Mhm.
Oh,
Right
okay.
now, that's where the guns are. That's the gun showcase room and all
Good
that.
place for them. Good place for them.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a super cool man. So far, I mean, I couldn't even imagine like going from putting in your papers to serve a mission
Hmm.
to opening up to see that you're doing a service mission. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, I think a lot of the service missions are kind of structured like that, right? Where it's a certain period of duration where it's like service, then it transitions over to a proselyting mission, specifically with the historical sites. Correct? Is that
I
generally how they
believe
go?
so. Yeah.
Okay,
Most of them
so
don't come. Actually, I don't think any of them come back except for the Illinois historic sites.
okay, yeah, so um, yeah, so you went from putting your papers, opening up, to like having to do like a bunch of research. I'm assuming like, what is this that I'm going to be doing? How much time did you have between when you opened up your letter and when you left?
Thank goodness mine was pretty quick. I opened it in January and I started my mission in March.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's just like literally enough
Yes.
time to get your stuff in order, your affairs in
Yeah.
order, and head out. Yeah, really,
Okay,
really
wait.
DNC esque.
I'm gonna pause Sam here. Tacey, you got to
Uh-huh.
tell us. Well, you got to tell them. I know this. What made you decide to serve a mission?
Oh, it's
I
so
love the
terrible.
story. It's awesome. I love it. I think it's great.
Um, so I didn't want to serve a mission at all. I I felt like I had everything I like needed at that time. I had a nice vehicle, I had a job that was paying really well and everything, and I was just like, I'm comfortable where I'm at.
Oh,
My
how sorry,
sister,
sorry. How
oh
how old are
yes,
you? How old are you?
I'm 21 now. Sorry, I had to think about
Okay.
that for a second. Um, but my sister, she was going to start remission as well. And when she was opening her call, I started getting this prompting to go serve, and I was like, no, that's funny. I'm not doing that. But God's more stubborn than I am. I kept putting off that prompting for 2 weeks, 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And then one night I was up super late. It was almost like 12 o'clock. And I was just watching some videos. And then I got the thought to watch some church videos. I was like, that's weird, but okay. And so I did. And then I got the thought to ask my dad for a priesthood blessing, which is something I've never said no to. The priesthood's had such a huge impact on my life, and it's healed me physically and spiritually in many different ways. And so I was like, I'm gonna text him, so hopefully he'll be asleep because he's got to be up early, like 5, 6 in the
That
morning.
that and her dad is the worst person at texting back. Anyway, you just
Yes,
tell him
Well,
that.
because
just
he's
like me.
out hunting those
You're better.
huge that huge game that he got mounted on
Yes.
the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I text him. I was like, "Hey, can you give me a blessing?" And immediately responds, "Sure, kid." I was like, "Really?" And so he comes into my room. And I don't tell him why I need a blessing, but in the blessing he says, "You need to follow your promptings." I was like, "Ah." And so I knew exactly what I needed to do.
Ah,
Um,
seeking for a sign, huh?
yeah, I wasn't seeking. The Lord was telling me.
Yeah.
And so, but it was literally the best decision I've ever made, and I'm so grateful that he told me to go serve a mission because it was so fun. And the testimony I've gained just about Jesus Christ, I could not have gained that in a lifetime, but I was able to do that through my mission. which was awesome.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. So I actually have
Yeah.
a question from Scooby again. He says, "My mother visited these sites back in the summer. She had a question. Someone had said that Emma being an elect lady wasn't the original word in the Revelation. Are you aware of that story at all?"
I personally haven't heard that before. I've only read what's in Doctrine and Covenants, but maybe they might have. I don't know. I personally can't say anything on that. I'm sorry.
He said,
Yeah.
All good if she misheard. You're the only source to verify that." But that does bring up another pretty interesting question. Did you receive any questions that you were just like, this was like way out of there, or how'd you deal with like some of the people that came to see the site? Did you ever have like
I
any weird
feel like
encounters?
I'm trying to remember. I feel like most people were pretty respectful. I've only had one person that, and I don't know what religion they were, but they told like a racist joke in Jonathan Browning's home, and I was like, so you just had to like kind of be like,
Just pretend
okay,
like
we're
you didn't
gonna
hear it.
move on. Yes, exactly. Because we can't be like, that's not okay or anything like that. It's just kind of like respectful redirecting away from whatever they were doing. And people would ask random questions all the time. Like you would be teaching them something about the endowment in the red brick store or something like that. And they'd be like, how old are these floors? And I'm like, I'm not sure. I'm sorry. Because most of the time we don't know how old they are, but we will tell you if things are original. But it was just like, it would just be funny, like try and answer
Like,
it, brush it off, and then continue.
yeah, that's awesome.
Those
So
were my favorite
we have
though.
somebody mentioned. So this is what he thinks it was. My daughter Emma. He said that's the original. Apparently, I don't know. That may or may not be the case,
Mhm.
but yeah, man, that's crazy. That's crazy, crazy, crazy.
Oh, that's cool. My daughter Emma, that's cool.
Oh, well, all right. So I won't say what his acronym there means, but I'll say JSithG. Knows
J6G,
knows a thing or two,
J6G.
huh? He's pretty sharp. I don't know who he is. He says he knows who I am. I don't know who he is, but
No one will
he's
ever
always got some
know.
good commentary.
No one will ever know.
And no one will ever know. I think that's the point of the nickname.
Yeah,
Um, so we talked Red Brick Store. We detoured a little to Browning, even though it's there.
yeah.
That's kind of a
Mhm.
personal thing I want to learn about. There's so many sites I didn't even know. Look, everyone thinks they know the Relief Society started at Red Brick Store, and not that it started at Sarah. I already forgot her last name.
Granger Kimball.
Sarah
Yep.
Granger Kimball. So there's another guy named Granger. He's mentioned in like we just read a few weeks ago. William Granger, I think, is she related to him, like a sister,
Not
his
that I
sister or
know of, but
something?
he could be. I also
Oh,
don't know
okay.
if I've
So
heard
William
that name.
Granger. Well, okay. So he was a guy that was like tasked with trying to sell a number of the church properties after the saints evacuated from Kirtland, and so
Oh
he was going back and
yes.
forth. And so I was just wondering if they were related. And anyway, just some cool
Mhm.
stuff. I know there's other sites you'd love to talk about. So,
Mhm.
um, what's another site that you'd love to share some stories about?
Let's see.
Do you guys
Is
ever
there
do
any
anything?
specific? Oh,
Did you
sorry.
guys do anything with the temple?
Hmm.
Not like bringing people around it or anything. We didn't do anything
Yeah.
on temple grounds. We had a
Hmm.
visitor center that describes them, but they're actually making a temple visitor center right now that should be open next year.
Ooh,
Oh,
It'll
okay.
be right
okay.
next, kind of
That's
out front by the
awesome.
temple.
Well, I think so. We're gonna end on Carthage, so let's not go there yet. Let's maybe
Okay.
talk. I'm gonna. Okay, tell me. Actually, here's one I want to hear about. Heber and Violet Kimball's home.
Yes.
Can you answer that? Did you serve there?
Oh my gosh, I loved their home.
Okay.
Let me pull this up for specifics on their home. But Heber, I just love lots about him. My favorite quote that Joseph kind of gave about him. Let's see if I can find it real quick. But Heber was very loyal. He was very loyal to Joseph Smith, and he was one of the few that Joseph said that he never raised his heel against me. Um, him and Brigham Young were the only two that never went against Joseph Smith. So it really shows Heber's character. His home's original. There's a little the taller section, I guess you can see there. That's the original part, and that other half was added on as a summer kitchen by one of his descendants. Um, but
A
he
summer
was
kitchen.
very, yes, it's kind of going to be like, or not a summer kitchen, but it was going to be a summer home for their family.
Oh, gotcha,
So it's
gotcha.
just added on space, but there is a kitchen in there.
Yeah.
Um, but he served a lot of different missions, and one of the stories that was my favorite that I'm sure a lot of people know was the Hurrah for Israel story. He was asked to leave his family to go teach about Jesus Christ and his restored gospel, while his family was extremely sick, and he was also sick. And so he went out and was willing to do this, but he turned around and was like, let's give him a cheer. And so they stood up, and it's him and Brigham during this time. And they raised their hats above their head and they started yelling, hurrah, hurrah, hurrah for Israel. And eventually, Valete was actually able to come up to the door and say goodbye and God bless you. Um, and I love, after in this story, Heber writes, they had cheerful countenances, and we returned the compliment, and then told the driver to go ahead. After this, I felt a spirit of joy and gratitude after having the satisfaction of seeing my wife standing upon her feet instead of leaving her in bed, knowing well that I should not see them again for 2 or 3 years. And I love that story because it shows that the Lord will strengthen his people, especially as they're on his errand. And we get to share that special message with people that are coming in. Um, but he served a lot in the British Isles as well. If I'm right on this number, about a fourth of the saints that were in Nauvoo were from the British Isles. So a lot of our converts came from that area. And so he was able to have a lot of success, um, and so did the other missionaries that were serving there. But one of my favorite things we get to share in there, it's one of the stories we end off on there, which don't bash on me for having it be one of my favorites, is actually a story of plural marriage. It's a scary
Okay.
thing to kind of bring up and everything,
Yeah.
but I would love going into that room and
Not for
saying we
us. You're
have
good
this
here.
journal.
Safe space.
Yeah. And just sharing that we have this journal entry. But I have it right here. It's their daughter who's noticing that this something's going on between her parents. But she writes, my mother had noticed a change in his, meaning Heber's looks and appearance. And when she inquired the cause, he tried to evade her question. Because at this time, Joseph had asked and showed him the different principles of plural marriage and asked if he'd be able to participate in it, but he was told he wasn't allowed to tell his wife. So you can already imagine how hard and how sick that must have made him feel.
Yeah.
But continuing with this story, she writes, but it so worked upon his mind that his anxious and haggard looks betrayed him daily and hourly. And finally, his misery became so unbearable that it was impossible to control his feelings. Instead of going to bed, he would walk the floor, beseeching the Lord with his whole soul to be merciful and reveal to his wife the cause of his great sorrow, for he himself could not break his vow of secrecy. His anguish and my mother's were indescribable, and when unable to endure it longer, she retired to her room where with a broken and contrite heart she poured out her grief. Now, there's a little bit more to that, but I love that it's bringing scripture into it where she knew that if she goes to the Lord with a broken and contrite heart, she would receive that answer she needed. And she did. After, it says, while pleading as one would for life, the vision of her mind was opened, and before her she saw the principle of celestial marriage, illustrated in all its beauty and glory, together with the great exaltation and honor it would confer upon her in that immortal and celestial sphere. If she would but accept it and stand in her place by her husband's side. She was also shown the woman he had taken to wife. Her soul was satisfied and filled with the Spirit of God. With a countenance beaming with joy, she returned to my father, saying, Heber, what you have kept from me, the Lord has shown to me. She related the scenes to me and to many others and told me she never saw so happy a man as father was when she described the vision, and she covenanted to stand by him and honor the principle, which covenant she faithfully kept. And though her trials were often heavy and grievous to bear, her integrity was unflinching to the end. And I just love that story
Base.
because
Super
that
base.
I personally cannot imagine having to go through that or having to participate that in any way, shape, or form. But she was able to find comfort in the Lord and in a covenant that she could make with him. And this was something that was really hard for the saints during that time, but they stayed focused on the temple and those promises that were being revealed to them little by little. And another reason I love Nauvoo so much, as I know that plural marriage was a harder subject, but with it came eternal families. And this was something that was just being revealed in Nauvoo, like during this time, and being able to be in that space where you learn that your family can be together forever, it makes that space just so much more sacred. And in learning how they dealt with it helps, I guess, me and hopefully others that came through to find a more, I guess, healthy way to be able to go through your trials, to always turn to the Lord, which isn't easy. And I'm sure that wasn't easy for them either with things they were going through, but it was something that was super special to be able to learn and to teach about.
So
Yep.
I have a question because, like,
Hmm.
I don't know about Sam or others listening. I am definitely feeling the spirit from you so much as you talk. Thank you, Tacey.
Yeah,
But
thank you.
what that makes me have to ask is because there's spirit fatigue. It's a real thing. So
Hmm.
I have to imagine, based on what you just said as well, that like you're in these sites and you're constantly bearing testimony and you're learning along the way.
Yes.
And just how do you deal with having to recharge? Like what would you say to people to deal with kind of that spirit fatigue? Because I'm sure you had to learn how to do it. I mean, it had to have been very enriching all the time, right?
Yeah. For me, something I understood and learned during that missionary time is I know I'm on the Lord's errand, so I do get an increase of physical and spiritual capacity because now, like, something that was so cool to experience was I don't remember anything. Like, I cannot remember anything, but I remembered every single one of these tours. I remembered the dates and everything so long as I just read it over the script, or not the script, but the site guide that we have before I went in. Um, but a spiritual recharge for me, I would say, was going to the temple. That was like my kind of like space where I got to just, I don't know what it was. It was just a recharge, and I learned. I still continued to learn when I went to the temple, but it just felt so good and refreshing to go there. Even just being on the grounds, it was just refreshing. But I think that was my main way of being able to recharge as a missionary because I couldn't really do much else. It was mostly working, just focusing on the work. So I don't know.
Hmm.
That's kind of how I was able to recharge, though.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I didn't even think about that because obviously there's a Nauvoo temple,
Hmm.
and so you would have been able to go. Yeah, my mission there wasn't, so we never went to the temple. So I didn't even. I
Yeah.
didn't even. That wasn't even in my mind that that would be an option for you. That's fantastic. I love that. So,
Yeah.
while your dad had been an endowment worker, I was an endowment worker
Oh,
as
nice.
well, right? And so, like, I think there's a lot to that. Sam's an endowment worker, by the way, and so
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm an
yeah,
ordinance worker at the
so
Raleigh
Sounds
Temple.
like I need to do it too.
Oh
you
yeah,
just might. Gilbert needs him.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
absolutely do it. But I think and so I talk about the temple a lot, and Sam does too. And I love hearing that there's younger saints, having those experiences as well and being able to go often and realizing the power that comes from it. So thank you for that again.
Yeah.
Um,
And
let's get to some of the questions here,
I was
maybe.
gonna say, I
Unless
think
you
I
have one
saw a
more thing. Yeah,
question.
there's some questions here. Let's do this.
Yeah, so this is a kind of like a two-part. So how close is the theater with the musical shows of all the missionaries? And then you asked
Um,
it like there
mhm.
was a pageant there once, right?
There still is a pageant, so we have the Nauvoo and the British pageant that still continues on. It's kind of just showing the growth of Nauvoo for the Nauvoo pageant, and then missionaries going out to Britain and bringing them back over. is the British pageant. So they switch off and alternate every night. And then the theater, they know, or if they're talking about that stage that they were dancing on, that's like literally just a 30-second walk from our visitor center that we have. Everything's within like a 5-minute radius in Nauvoo area. Um, but they also move around. They don't just do that video that you brought up with Sunset on the Mississippi.
Oh, okay.
They do that every night, except for their P days and Sundays, I believe. But they have vignettes all throughout town. So they'll be at the Cultural Hall, which is known as the Masonic Hall. They're trying to change that. Or they'll be by the Singing Tree, we call it. Or they'll be in Heber C. Kimball's backyard. Just all sorts of places they do different vignettes and stuff.
That's super cool. So they're always just like, that's like what they're really focused on. So they're like memorizing all the scripts and all that stuff, all the choreography.
Yeah, for our performing missionaries, that's what they're doing. They have 3 weeks of very vigorous training of getting all that down.
Intense.
Yes.
It's intense.
And they help out a little bit in pageant too. So they got even more to figure out.
Try to juggle, yeah. So Trey got here a little late, but could you talk about this a little bit again, maybe?
Yes. Okay. So they don't do prairie diamonds anymore where they shape that nail into a ring. They give out horseshoes, but they do make them in front of you still. And then what was the other question on there about the bread?
Oh, yeah.
Give out bread, make candles. Yeah, there you go.
What I've been told, I think they should bring the bread back personally. From what I've been told, they
So
don't
what
do
was
the
the deal
bread
with that?
anymore because of COVID. So
Oh.
they had stopped doing bread in there. We've started throwing clay. There's a pottery wheel in there. So
Oh,
they started doing clay again. But they don't have bread to eat or take home anymore, and they don't take home candles, but we do take home ropes if you want to make them in that area.
Okay.
You can still dip the candles and everything. But yeah,
and that was where exactly? In all the
that's in the
historical sites?
Family Living Center.
Family Living Center.
You should be able to find a picture of that one. That one's pretty cool to. Hopefully,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people take pictures in there.
I bet.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there is a pageant. That was one of the things that got brought up. Yeah, so while I look up, you said, what was that again called?
The Family Living Center.
Yeah.
All right, let me just share this again real quick.
I'm just gonna drop a message about it. That's the description.
Okay, so we're in Illinois.
Perfect.
Okay, let's look for it. Which, by the way, church did a good job on putting this thing together. I think it looks pretty good.
I believe it's in the Pioneer Life ones, number 25.
There you go.
Nice. Here we go. Look how easy that is.
I know,
That is
isn't that so nice?
well done. That is
They've
well done.
Gotten it down.
Now, if we can just get the living app, fixed, right? The
Yes.
circles. Just kidding.
Yep.
All right. So, wow, look at that.
And a few things have moved around in there, but that thing right there, that triangle that comes over to this circular thing, that's how you make rope. It's called a
Ropes.
rope walk.
Wow, that's super cool.
So kids go crazy with that. It's super fun to be in there, especially during the summer.
Oh, there we go. Heating up some
Oh, yeah.
steel or something, right?
Is that the old bread oven or something? Or
It looks like she might
Yes,
be heating.
they used to cook bread in there, so they did do it in there. That's probably a real picture, or it is a real picture.
yeah,
They just don't cook it anymore.
they don't cook it anymore. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be an older picture or something. Unless you recognize who she is. I don't know. But
No.
for those that might have joined a little late, we found Tacey in a video in one of the houses. So that was fun.
Oh yeah,
That was
They're also
funny.
updating
that was in the red
videos,
bricks
guys.
red brick storehouse. Second
Yes, the Red
floor.
Brick Storehouse. That's right.
Yeah, that was
She's
funny.
Google famous. Google famous.
You didn't even know, did you? You had no idea. You're internet famous.
I think I kind of recognize it. It's kind of awkward because we tell people not to record
Yeah.
the beginning just because people take it and change it with AI, not saying they would. So I think I kind of knew. You might have seen me kind of like fidgeting with my hands turning sideways, but
Like, what is someone doing?
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like,
Are they authorized? Yeah.
put that away. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's
Kind
gotta be
of
kind
got
of
worry about
an
that now, which is
it's gotta be kind
nice.
of an awkward situation to kind of be put in for
Yes.
sure.
So if you get it at the beginning when you go through and you're like, hey, make sure you don't touch anything and no video or audio recording, but it's awkward when you miss it because then
So
you're like,
so
sorry.
are you walking between all of these sites, or are you just staying at one site and then the visitors are coming through?
It depends on where you're at. So, like Joseph Smith's Homestead, that's a little bit of a walking tour because you have two buildings to go into.
Yeah.
The Temple City tour, I don't know if you saw that one on there. That is three homes that's walking. It's a little under a mile, if I'm correct. Bring them to those places right
And that
there,
would be
Temple
under,
City.
sorry.
The blue ones? No, you're good.
Oh, blue one? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all of these are relatively
hmm
close to each other?
Yes, within a mile of each other. So you'll start at William Weeks' home. He was the architect, or kind of the designer of the temple papers or blueprints.
Hmm.
So you talk a little bit about that. Edward and Anne, they were super helpful with bringing saints over from their state. I think it was in Pennsylvania. They actually paid for a lot of people to come over and help them in that way. He was a bishop as well. Um, and then where you see number 13, that's actually where the West Grove is. And that's where Joseph would give different sermons. That's where the Relief Society met. And that's where he actually revealed the um, what's it called? The doctrine of baptisms for the dead, which he received that
Oh,
revelation in Edward and Ann Hunter, so or not received it, but dictated it in there. So we talk
dictated.
about that in there too.
Ooh, that's awesome. And all stuff I'd
Yeah,
never heard before. So,
it's so cool.
oh my gosh. So where's the river that's nearby there? Pull up the map again. So is that like is it true that the saints basically just rushed to the river as soon as they heard it or something and just started going to town on baptisms? Or is that like a
Oh,
folklore thing?
I think I've heard of that somewhere. I personally haven't read it, but I think they were like going and doing it. I don't remember. It's probably after Doctrine and Covenants 128 or so, because I believe that's the
Yeah.
revelation it started in, that
Hmm.
he's like, okay, you guys gotta wait
Yeah, you
until
gotta
you
stop.
have
You
the
gotta hold
baptismal
up.
font done. So I'd
Yeah.
assume they went out and immediately were like, let's get this done.
Yeah, I see. I don't know if that's folklore or not because we hear the
uh,
story like as soon as people heard it, bam, they were running out. They were like men were getting baptized on behalf of women, and it was chaos and all this stuff. And
yes.
yeah, okay,
I've
so like
also
I
heard
just
that. I
wanted to
haven't personally read it, but I'm pretty
yeah,
sure that's right.
okay, yeah, that's what everyone always says. So I thought I'd double check that. That's but still that West Grove, and then you said it was the Hunter's home where he dictated that. Those would be
Yes.
some fun places to go. That would
And
be
he,
really really cool.
yeah, it's cool because the only reason he dictated there is because he was in hiding during that time in their home.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ah,
We didn't really go
interesting.
very far, I guess, though.
Interesting. Oh yeah, yeah, there you go. And the protection just
And this is
Those two papers on the
opposite.
desks are kind of replicas of what it looked like. I think it's penned. I think it was William Clayton that wrote it for him. If I'm right, I
yeah,
could be wrong
that
on
would have
that.
made sense because he was his personal secretary. Um, so when he was in hiding, like, was there like secret chambers or something that they would throw him into if they thought there was danger, or what did that look like?
Um, it kind of depended. So there, I'm sure he would have just hid upstairs, but like in
Hmm.
the mansion house, that's part of the Homestead tour. In their first bedroom, in a closet, there's a false wall that actually opens up and leads upstairs
Yeah, that's
to
what I'm
the
looking for.
attic.
Yeah, I like to hear stuff
Yeah,
like that. That's
isn't
super
that
cool.
cool?
Yes, that's the stuff to
Yes.
hear.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what we're here to hear. Yeah.
And
Very
outside
cool.
of Joseph Smith's homestead, there's a cellar. And then I'm not for sure if there was a cutout inside the house, but there's a fake cutout now to show
Hmm.
like, oh, he would have gone into hiding at his own home as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think at one of his prior homes, I'm not sure where, but they had, or, and I wonder if it's original, but like iron bars over the front door or something like that because of mobs. Did you ever
Oh,
hear
really?
that? Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know
It's
him
something I've
personally,
heard.
but I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't think it was the Nauvoo home, so I'm not sure
Yeah.
where, but okay.
Also, those fences or those little gates aren't up anymore, which is kind of scary in their home.
Oh, so
Was
people
there
could
was
just
there a reason why
build
they're
those.
originally up? Just to keep people from.
Yeah, keep people from going over there because it's a historic home and it's a special home. People like to
Oh
go and
yeah,
look
they
and
got the
wander and
floors
everything.
protected and everything. Yeah.
But it's scary because there's an original high chair to the Smith family in the big
Oh
kitchen area,
really?
so you kind of have to like guard it with your body. So I just go and stand by
Please
it.
don't do this.
People are like,
Yeah.
can I put my kids in this thing? Are you talking about over here?
Oh yeah. Let's see. You might be able to see it right there. That shorter chair, the darker
Right.
brown,
Oh, right
by the
here.
table.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That's the high chair. It's original.
Nice.
Crazy.
Yeah, super cool.
These are the plates that kids had back in the day, I'm assuming, instead of like the
Maybe.
rubbery silicone ones.
Oh yeah.
It's intense.
Yeah. This room was really cool too. This was one of the bigger spaces in Nauvoo at that time. Um, this was when the Saints first got there. And so they didn't have places like the Red Brick Store that was really big. And so they would have different sermons that were held in that room. Um, and the space that you're in right now, that was originally what was standing before Joseph Smith added more onto it. So that's an addition that you're in.
Okay.
But the first summer the Saints came there, they started getting really sick from the mosquitoes with something called ague, which is known as malaria now.
Hmm.
And so Joseph and Emma actually gave up their home and used it as a hospital, stayed in a tent in their yard for 3 months as they
That's
took care of the
intense.
Saints. Isn't
So
that
they're in
crazy?
a tent outside because of mosquitoes to take care of
Yep.
people. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
See, that's faith. That's faith.
Yep. Dedication shows a lot of love that they had
Yeah.
for all those
Yeah.
saints.
It's like we know you guys are getting sick, getting bit by mosquitoes outside, so we're gonna go live outside.
So you can
Take care
come
of
in.
you.
I
Yeah.
mean,
There's
look at
the
the.
river right over there.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's quite a view. I
Oh,
think
that is
somebody
beautiful.
said Eliza R. Snow said that the sound of the river was saying
Same
peace.
piece.
Aw.
Um.
Oh, and then I saw a question up there if movies get produced at those
Oh yeah.
spots. The only one that I know of, I know there's a few different ones, but it's basically it has to be approved by the church or something. But the Joseph Smith, the Prophet of the Restoration, was some parts were filmed there, and then I don't know if they just took video clips and stuff. But if anybody's ever seen Jane and Emma, there's parts of that there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
Jane Manning, you mean? And yeah, yeah,
mhm,
yeah.
Oh, there's your
yeah,
updated white fence, right?
there you go.
There you go.
Yep.
Nice,
Fewer
nice.
pictures now.
Yeah.
So that yeah, I bet they were the church probably painted them white after we acquired the property or something like that, and that's why the old ones from COC are brown. Um, okay.
So did you have like almost unlimited access to these sites, somewhat?
So the first year I was there, the first 6 months, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think it was after we got these sites, the church history department became more involved. And
Mhm.
so we would just have to schedule times to go in afterwards. The Joseph Smith properties, they try to keep us away from those the first year we had them, but the next year we could go in and do district councils in the Red Brick Store, um, and things like
Awesome.
that. So we
That's
kind
yeah,
of
that's pretty
had
cool. Yeah.
a lot of access. We just had to let them know we were going to be in there and not be
Man.
there past a certain time.
So
Okay.
I just got to go up here. I mean, there's so much to do up there.
Yeah,
There's
there's a
It's
way
lot.
more than
It's
I
awesome.
imagined.
it's
It's
this is
Yes.
incredible.
yeah, this is crazy. This entire area is essentially just historical. There's nothing
Hmm.
else
Yeah.
here, right?
Nope. Not in
Okay.
the flats down there.
So essentially the church just owns all of this land.
A lot of it, yeah. And there's a few
Probably some of
homes
the
you'll
water too.
see if you go down there that people live there, but that's about it.
Something like over here maybe or
Kind of
a
like
little bit further.
all throughout. Like there's
Oh,
tons of brick homes that are just like housing for different things. But
hmm.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
So
Oh,
here's
another
another
factboard check here.
yeah.
I've heard I don't personally know. I haven't heard that until reading it just now. But it's possible. I don't know any rooms that I was restricted from though. I will say
Oh,
that.
okay, okay.
Okay.
I was able to go in every room. Okay. Um there's a few different resources. The ones that we would recommend to people is definitely the Saints books on the Gospel Library app
Mhm.
and the church history topics. Tons of information on there. And then another one that I didn't know of was the Joseph Smith papers. You can find a lot, like Wilford
Yeah.
Woodruff, he has his journals on there. There's a
Mhm.
King Follett sermon on there that has three different accounts that were written
Yep.
by different people. Wilford Woodruff's version is the best because he writes in print. But there's a ton of like different information on um, the Joseph Smith papers specifically. Most of the things that I know of are open to the public, except for like certain maps and stuff, which we print at our visitor center.
And
Okay.
then I think we got it's somewhat of a similar question.
Mhm. That's every
So the
church
question, yeah,
films. Uh, Sorry, you can say it. My
yeah. So
bad.
was every church film set there, filmed there? So essentially, yeah. What he's saying is like Joseph Smith, the Prophet of the Restoration, in
Mhm,
the scenes where you would see like Illinois parts of it, was it actually
mhm.
filmed there or was it filmed somewhere else?
I believe it was when I'm watching it, I can see I'm like, that's John Taylor's home in his print shop. That's Jonathan Browning's home. So
Yeah.
I think they actually did film it, and they still can do it. They just have to get special permission from the church because nobody's supposed to be recording in historical sites, or at least in Nauvoo specifically. But if they get special permission, as far as I know, they're allowed to. I don't know what that all includes of being allowed to, but as far as I know, if they get permission, they can.
Awesome.
So I don't
Well,
know why they would build it if they can just ask. So maybe there's something else with that.
yeah, I agree. I think when it comes to like doing those films, if there was a reason to film there, I think they would for sure film.
Yeah.
So I got a question.
Yes.
That West Grove, where Joseph also preached about ordinances for the dead. At that time, just baptisms for the dead. Is that the same grove where he delivered the King Follett discourse, or was that somewhere else?
I think it was a different grove, if I'm
Okay.
correct. There was a lot of different groves, and
Yeah, it's huge area apparently.
yeah,
And I'm not gonna
I
lie,
think it was
this
a
is
different
this is
grove.
not looking like a strong grove.
No, it looks a lot better now.
Okay,
There's
okay.
actually, it's a lot thicker.
This
They're
is this is close to
protected
winter though,
right
I think,
now.
in this picture,
Mhm.
right? Maybe?
Most likely, if there's like no leaves on the trees, that place is green as can be in the summertime.
Oh,
So
okay, yeah.
if
Right.
there's no leaves, it's the winter.
We're getting there, yeah. Okay. They still got the good oh, I didn't realize I wasn't sharing. Wow, Ricky moving.
So I don't know if we're wrapping up on some questions or anything. People pour them in if you still got them, but now might be a good time. Let's talk about Carthage Jail. Let's do a
Yes.
full 360. Give us everything you want to give about Carthage Jail, Tacey.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start?
Um, you could probably just start at the Carthage jail. Yeah. Um, People will come in, go to the visitor center. We like to show them a clip of a talk by Jeffrey R. Holland. I believe it's in the October 2019 one, but he just bears such a powerful testimony of these two brothers, of Joseph and Hiram. But I love people walking up, or the first thing you see when you're walking up is that statue of Joseph and Hiram, and you get to see the jail behind it as well. But we start off by telling you about the jail right outside there. We'll tell you that it's made out of red limestone. The walls are 2 feet thick, which is kind of crazy to think about. That's like
That's pretty
super
cool.
huge. Um, and yeah, that's the inside of it. It kind of looks like a home. It wasn't uncommon back then for people to live where their job was, and that was the same case for the jailer and his family. And so the jailer's name, his name's George Stiegel. He had his wife, and he actually had 7 kids at this time.
Oh
So a
wow.
family of 9 living with a bunch of
That's
prisoners.
intense. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Is
intense.
that kind of scary?
Yeah.
But the really special thing about Carthage Jail is it's original. The floors, the casings around the doors, some of the doors
Wow.
themselves are original. And so it's special to know that you are walking in that same space, which it
Mhm.
seems like it would be a really depressing place to be, but it's a very peaceful place.
Hmm.
It's very
Really?
somber, but it's very peaceful. But Yeah, in that space, we tell them about the family. And if you look down that hallway, that's the debtor cell. So when
Oh,
these men were first brought here, they were brought up the stairs and into that room. That room up there is the criminal cell, as they were being charged with just inciting a riot at first. They went in trial, and in Nauvoo, they were acquitted of that charge. They were basically told they were fine. But the governor of Illinois, he actually told these men, no, you need to come to Carthage to be tried for that same thing. And whether that be because he didn't want Nauvoo to favor them or he wanted them over in Carthage, not quite sure. But they had to come to Carthage and they were released on bail for that charge. But the people there obviously didn't like Joseph and Hyrum and charged them with treason. Treason
Right.
back then was a capital offense, and that meant that they were not allowed to be not allowed to leave on bail. And so that led to them actually being stuck in Carthage jail. And so they were put in this cell first because that was such a heavy crime. And what's special to know from serving here, they weren't alone. It wasn't just Joseph and Hiram for that first little bit. They had 8 of their friends that actually came along to support them, willingly, excuse me, willingly going into this cell. Let me grab a drink real quick.
Hmm.
But um, you can't tell because all the lights are on there. But once we
yeah.
turn off the flashlight we have and shut the door, it's pitch black in there, except for the 3 slits they have in the limestone. And
Oh, where is
back
that?
then, that was
Oh, right
only,
here.
That right there. That was their only
Man, that's
source of
intense.
airflow, ventilation. They were there in the summertime. It was hot. And it's humid, extremely humid in
Yeah,
Illinois.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
for sure.
imagine wearing the pioneer clothes they did and being
Hmm.
in that. It would be awful.
Wait, I
But
have a question on that. Really quick
yes,
pause. Is the folklore true that Joseph and Hiram removed their garments and folded them up because of how sweltering it was?
I had no idea about that story, so
Okay,
I don't know
these are
for
things
sure.
that are like kind of folklore, and I don't know if they're
Uh,
true or not, right? But
yeah.
there's a story that on the day that they were assassinated, that they did that, and then that's when they sang "A Poor Retiring Man of Grief" as the mob was
Oh,
approaching. So I've always wondered if that was true or not. But like I do remember, so um, there was one time I was stuck on a train in a similar situation. It was
mhm.
middle of summer, incredibly humid area. Where it was me and 2 other missionaries crammed in. There was 2 beds in the one compartment, so I had an elder with me in the same bed, and we took off everything but our garments. We did the reverse because it was unbearable, and you're I mean, everything like you would touch the crevice of your arm and it would be a pool of water, sweat. Like I can imagine that's how it was. It's
Yeah,
gross.
it
Anyway,
is for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Um, the cool thing about them being locked in there, though, is they were just there for a few hours. George Siegel, the jailer, he actually got to know the men. And he was like, these guys are not a dangerous threat. Or at least that must have been what he thought because he moved them downstairs to the debtor cell, where it was maybe a little bit more airflow. It was more bright. There was more windows in there. But in that space, it also allowed them to be able to see the mobs that were gaining around the outside of the jail, which must have been scary for the jailer's family as well, to
Hmm.
have all these men just so angry at these men that were just in there. And I don't know, I feel like
Is
it'd be
is that what
crazy
this
to
is that what
death.
this is right here?
This is the debtor cell that you're in right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is
So,
actually, oh, sorry, go for it.
well, I was gonna say like there's a lot of people that get I think a little angry with the jailer. Like, why didn't he do his job better? Why did he leave?
Hmm.
I had never heard he had 7 children, and this
Yeah,
Hmm.
is
that
his
kind of
family's
changes
rule.
that kind of changes the
That
picture a
changes
little bit.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah, of course they left. He had 7 kids there. Come on.
Yeah. Um, What's kind of scary about it too, the kids and the wife were actually at the jail at the time of the attack. George Siegel was running a message during that time. But he asked the men before he left, he said, "Do you want to go into the criminal cell?" Which is the one we were just in, that upstairs area that would have been significantly safer.
Mhm.
And Joseph agreed that they would go after they had dinner. And so that was right when the mob came in and attacked after
Yeah.
that. Um, but it was pretty scary. From an account that I've heard, as soon as the wife heard a gunshot or a gunshot went close to her head, she quickly took her kids and they went to a neighbor's home, and that's when the mob stormed in. So the family was safe. Um, and George Siegel, he does get a lot of hate, but I think he did the best he could with taking care of them while he was in
Yeah.
there.
And he,
Yeah.
Even
I
letting
don't
them
have
eat
any
at
animosity
his
with
table
that.
with his family.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, he probably wasn't like super sympathetic, I would assume, to Joseph Smith, correct?
Sorry?
Like he probably wasn't like super sympathetic to like Joseph Smith's cause, I would assume.
I'm not quite sure. All I know is that he just provided them like food and stuff, which is something they normally have to pay for. I believe he
Yeah.
would have ended up paying for it, but allowing them
Oh,
to
okay.
come out and eat with him and everything. But sorry, goodness gracious.
Let's see what we got.
But
Uh,
there was definitely a huge mob that was gaining outside, and so when the men ended up getting moved to the jailer's bedroom, which is upstairs to the side from the criminal cell, they were just moved up there for their own comfort, which was really kind of the jailer to do for them, to give up his bedroom so that these men could
Mhm.
be in there. So definitely shows he had that compassion towards them.
for sure.
But
For sure.
they were in there from June 26th to the 27th, and the
Yeah.
27th was the day of the attack. Um, but even during this time, I love that these men are all able to find a sense of peace. Like in the debtor cell, although they had all these men that were storming around the jail and angry and yelling. I don't know if any of you, or if either of you have heard of Dan Jones before,
Mhm.
possibly.
No.
Yeah, I
So
have. Yeah.
you have Dan Jones, awesome guy. He was a good friend of Joseph Smith's, a recent convert that year, and he was in the jail with Joseph Smith.
Mhm.
But in that, or on that night that they were locked up in that debtor cell, he leaves us with this quote. He said, "We were all locked up together in a dungeon, which was about 10 feet square, so really small space for 10 grown men."
Yeah.
Um, but he says, and here we spent the first evening of our imprisonment in sweet conversation about the mystery of godliness. Oh, such joy possessed them when they foretold that they both were about to finish their race and go to their reward. I never saw them more cheerful and intent on heaven, nor did I ever before think that Carthage Jail was the gate of paradise. And
Hmm.
that's such a like, I loved that specific cell, getting to share that quote with people, showing that even in this moment when these two men knew that they were going to die, they were able to find peace in knowing that they were going to live with their heavenly Father. And it was so fun to be able to share that with people.
Yeah.
Um, Even when they went into the criminal cell area, there was a prophecy that was given a few years earlier that Dr. Richards, or Willard Richards, would stand almost completely unhurt from the attack, or from a attack.
Right.
Yes. And
Yeah.
so in
Something about
that,
the balls that
uh,
fly by his ears and stuff, right?
yes, I actually have the quote right here. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
literally, it's so good. It says, "Dr. Richards' escape was miraculous. He, being a very large man, in the midst of a shower of balls, yet he stood unscathed, with the
That's
exception of a ball which grazed the tip end of the lower part of his left ear. His
that's
escape
Wow.
fulfilled." Uh-huh.
yeah.
His escape fulfilled literally a prophecy which Joseph made over a year previously, that the time would come that the ball should fly around him like hail, and he should see his friends fall on the right and on the left, but that there would not be a hole in his garment, meaning his outer clothing.
Yeah. And he's a big dude, right?
Yes,
So that's
which
even
is
more
why they
amazing.
put a very large man in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
But
it's
It's crazy. Oh, and what you're looking at right now, if you see that
Hmm.
little brown cutout in the wall, that's the attic, and that's where the kids actually slept.
Oh,
Oh,
right here, huh?
Hmm.
interesting.
Oh, for some reason I didn't really look at that. I thought it was like
Yeah, I didn't know what that was either.
Isn't
an
that kind of cool?
armoire or something.
So the floors are original, you said. I actually have to wonder, are there bloodstains in there?
They
Well,
got rid of them a few years
They got
ago.
rid of them. Oh,
Hmm.
just
and
enough.
Or
these
a
look like
long time ago, I
these look
think.
a little
Oh, a long time. Okay.
refurnished in
Hmm.
comparison to like.
And
Yeah,
they
so it's the
get,
original, but they've been
mhm,
referred. I just wondered if there's
yeah.
like clear coat over or something like that to keep that there. But yeah, it sounds like they kept
No,
it.
as far as I know, they might have shaved them down a little while ago, but they try to leave them as original as possible. I think there
Yeah.
might be two boards in the bedroom that have been replaced,
Okay.
but
I
everything's
mean,
mostly original,
I mean,
including the
yeah,
door in there.
it looks like they did some sanding or something here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Something
and
interesting.
people are walking in and out of there all day,
Yeah.
every
Yeah,
You
day,
got
so
to
that's
be
definitely.
probably a
out.
lot to do with it too.
Yeah. Hmm.
But yes, this is the jailer's bedroom. Um, and it's so cool that even the day before their attack, Joseph took that time to be able to teach the guards about the restored gospel of Jesus Christ. He never missed an opportunity to share that light and that joy with people, which I loved getting to share that. And you can imagine they were a little bit nervous during that time. And so Hiram was reading from the Book of Mormon to those men.
Hmm.
And that part that he was reading from was in Ether, if I'm remembering correctly. And it's actually talking about grace and stuff. And we had somebody, I believe it was, I cannot remember her name right now, but we had somebody come and teach us a little bit about that. And the idea she kind of got from it was that's what they needed in that moment, to just hope that those men, that mob that was gathering outside, would have grace like they've been shown from Heavenly Father to them. So it was able to bring them peace in that time. And the next day, Joseph sent six of his friends on different errands that needed to be ran. They were allowed to leave the jail because they weren't there in charge, but they weren't allowed to come back in. So that ended with just Joseph, Hiram, Willard Richards, and John Taylor being in the room, which
Yeah.
must have been such a scary moment to be significantly less in numbers in there. And this mob is just continuing to grow outside, just so angry. And so John Taylor was able to sing A Poor Wayfaring Man of Grief, as you guys know. We actually get to play a snippet of that, the first, sixth, and seventh verse. Um, and he's able to bring that like calmness into the room, and actually ends up singing it a second time for the men because it just brought so much peace. And shortly after that, as we were kind of talking about earlier, the jailer, he comes in and he asks the men if they like to move to the criminal cell. He's going to run a message, and figured they'd be safer in there. And Joseph agreed they would go after supper. And unfortunately, that's when the attack would happen after the jailer left. And so that first bullet hole you see in the door, I'm sure a lot of people know this, but that hit Hyrum Smith in the face. And he ended up falling back, kind of turning away, but he got shot in the lower back as he was turning away. And so at that point, Joseph cried, "Brother Hiram," as he just watched his older brother, one of his biggest supports, just fall to the ground and die from this mob that was attacking them. And these men, there's only three of them now at this time. They're able to fight back, just grabbing anything they can, canes, walking sticks, to try and knock away these guns that are being shoved through the doorway. And something we don't get into in the tour just because it's a lot to go into if we did. Joseph had a firearm at that time,
Hmm.
and so he was trying to shoot. I believe he got a couple rounds off, but then his gun just stopped firing correctly. And so he couldn't do anything with that. At this point, John Taylor runs for the window. He gets struck in the leg by one of those balls that are being shot through. And he yells, "I'm hit," tries to get under the bed for cover, and he ends up with four gunshot wounds. So it's
Yeah.
definitely a miracle he was able to survive from that in that time.
Right.
Um, and so at this point, it's just Willard Richards and Joseph Smith at the door, trying to hold that shut as best as they can. And Joseph, he just darts for the window. And I know some people had the conception of he's like a coward and everything. Somebody kind of opened my eyes up to maybe he was trying to lead the mob away from Willard as he saw his brother's dead. John Taylor just got shot pretty badly. Maybe he's trying to get them away. But that's the windowsill that he straddles. The windows were open at this time, and he gets shot twice in the back from the mob that's behind him, and once from outside that pierced just below his heart. And he lurches out the window and he cries his last words, which was, "Oh Lord, my God." And I don't know if you can see it, but right outside, he falls just next to a well.
Yeah.
It's way down below it, so it might not be able to see it.
Right.
It's right
But
here, isn't
Maybe
it?
there-ish. Yeah.
and at this point, Willard Richards, he runs over to see if Joseph is alive, but he doesn't see any movement at this time. So he had passed away from those gunshots he had received, and he was able to bring John Taylor back into the criminal cell to hide him. So that's kind of where the story ends up ending at, which is such a it sounds like such a sad story, but in that space, the spirit is so strong and peaceful, where you know that that had to happen, and he was willing to do that, and so was Hiram for their testimonies of Jesus Christ and his restored gospel. And that's something that I just loved being able to share with people. And after that, we get to finish off with the testimony of John Taylor and Willie Richards. Both of them were able to survive from that attack. And it's in Doctrine and Covenants 135. And we just read a little bit of it. But it says, "Joseph Smith, the prophet and seer of the Lord, has done more, save Jesus only, for the salvation of men in this world, than any other man that lived in it. He lived great and he died great in the eyes of God and his people, and has sealed his mission and his works with his own blood. And so has his brother Hiram. In life they were not divided, and in death they were not separated." And I love when we get to end there, we kind of just invite people to sit and think about whatever is going through their head there. And for me personally, I would equate that room to people that are endowed members of the church that are like listening right now. I would equate that room to the celestial room. It is so special. It's quiet, it's calming. The spirit is just undeniable there. Um, and I know that those guests that are coming in feel that too. And I love when we get to get youth that come in there because they feel that spirit too. And it's just so special to be able to share that with people. And then we
So
get to take them out.
there's a little bit more, right? Because after he falls at the well, and this might be folklore, so you can correct me again, Tacey, but
uh,
they sit him up against it. They're ready to fire more rounds
mhm,
into him, but it's apparent they don't need to. A man goes up to try to behead him,
mhm,
and something happens that freezes the man in place, and the mob runs away. And it's described as the just a loud sound and a light appearing. Is this anything
mhm.
that you guys ever talk about?
That we have taught personally, no. But I have heard that. I've heard also that they propped him up and shot him again. We do know when he fell out the window, he had three gunshot wounds, but he was found with four. So at some
Oh,
point,
so they
he
did
got
shoot
shot
him.
again.
Okay. Okay.
At
I
some
thought they
point, he got
didn't,
shot
but
again.
okay. Got it.
Yes. Um, and I have heard about the guy going to cut his head off as well. I don't know for sure either. And
Right.
from what we were told we could share, basically they're just like to say, "You're not sure, it's a possibility."
Right. It's possible. Yeah, because
Uh-huh.
what happened at this time, it's interesting because Samuel, his cousin, darts for the prison. And
Mhm.
he gets past people that were set along the roadways as guards to keep the Mormons from coming and saving them, right?
Mhm.
He just rides right past them, like no regard. They don't even bother trying to stop him, it seems. And so there's a lot of speculation that Samuel writing in was like that signifier of here's here it comes, you now your work is done. What needed to happen happened. Your fates are sealed, by the way, as murderers of the prophets, but you're over and Sam's on his way. Is kind of how like it's pieced together by some people if that story is true. It's more that folklore. I wanted to double check, but
Yeah,
it's kind of fun to think about it like that.
it is, yeah. Because I think they'd definitely be protected, especially after going through all of that and having
Yeah.
to die as martyrs. I would, yeah.
There is one on here. It says, I hear 2 mob guys were shot by Joseph but didn't die, but I heard they died much, much later of infections from the wounds, which actually would have been fairly common, I would assume, back in the day.
Yeah.
If you got
Hmm.
hit by anything, then your chances of dying would have been very high.
Yes.
Which is actually surprising that
Um,
John Taylor, you said, got shot in the leg, correct?
he got shot
four
4 times. So the wrist, the hip, just above the knee, and then that one in the back of the leg. So he
and
walked
a
with a
pocket
limp for the
watch.
rest of his life.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Don't forget the pocket watch, right? That a bullet got stopped by his pocket watch over his breast. So there
We,
would have been a 5th fatal.
I think I think that would be, sorry.
That's folklore.
The church history department came in, they're like, we can't be for sure because they tried different
Oh,
tests on
they're
it
not
to see.
sure. Oh,
But
so that's another folklore.
if it was, I would say that a miracle could definitely happen during that time. But
Yeah.
first,
Sure.
just in case, we told people in the midst of the attack, he broke his pocket watch.
Oh, okay. Oh,
But I
see, that one
think,
I didn't even think was
uh,
folklore. So there we go. That's good.
I know. And
Yeah.
John Taylor writes that his pocket watch protected him too.
Mm,
So I personally think that a miracle could have happened during that time.
yeah. Because you do think about it, these are 30 to 50 caliber balls. These are massive. Yeah,
Hmm.
like so for a pocket watch to stop it is a miracle. You know, they didn't have the same velocity as guns now, or all of that, but you still got to think it's a pretty good sized musket ball coming out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's intense. Well,
Yes.
we got anything else?
Yeah. Any other questions or anything? I know I yapped a lot, but
No, it's
Oh, that's
been good.
what we want.
I didn't realize how intense this area was. Like, this is just a
yeah,
treasure trove of sites,
it's the
um
best.
and then knowing that there's gonna be missionaries like yourself there to like teach these things, it's just like the cherry on the top to go visit, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
Make a trip up there.
Yeah, I think we got our spring break plans now for where we're going. Uh,
Yay!
Good. Let me know. I'll drive up
yeah.
there. It's not too far for me. It's like a 15 hour drive, I
Ugh.
think.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah,
that's not too bad.
I
That's
got
not
a
too
plan.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
15 hours.
I don't
Like
know.
a long
15
weekend.
hours sounds good to me. That's like here to Salt Lake, and I fly to Salt Lake instead. I'm like, nope, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Well,
Well, according to Joseph G, it is Miss Chalk still, but don't get ideas.
Thank you.
But let's why don't we wrap it up? You've borne a lot of testimony as it is. Is there any final testimony that you want to give, or words or anything like that, Tacey?
Just I think what I found through the sites is just that Joseph Smith is a prophet and he wasn't perfect like none of us are, but he did the best that he could and he was able to restore the gospel and he was commanded by God to do that and I gained such a wonderful testimony about my savior through these sites and through these saints testimonies and so if you do get the chance to go there take a tour just keep your heart open because you will gain that testimony as well because I was able to do it and I'm just so grateful that I was able to but yeah, I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
amen.
We're all grateful for you as well. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yep. Well, thank everyone for joining. Don't forget to like the stream before we end, and make sure you comment. Maybe we can find something to talk about, or maybe if you guys have questions on other live streams that we have for Tacy, we can get those answered for you. So what are the future plans for you, Tacy? School, you said?
Yep,
Mm.
doing
School,
some school and
then a podcast
working.
probably.
Yeah, I think we have one Friday.
Saturday. So
Saturday.
Sam, you can probably join that one too, but we're going on with Jacob Ryder.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. Sweet.
So,
Definitely. Well, thanks.
but yeah, we're gonna do this kind of again, at least one more time, and then So let's dig in it a little bit more though. So Tacey, are you still thinking about psychology?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. Goodness, I can't talk. Um, trying to set up an appointment right now to actually meet with Mesa Community College so I can get everything set up and
Mhm.
become a therapist in the future, which is awesome.
It's awesome. Love that.
Yes.
We need the good ones out there. So thank you for
Yes.
that.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Desperately. So, all right.
Well, awesome. Yeah, we'll end it off here. Thank you. Like I said, thank you guys for joining. Tacey, thank you for coming on. Michael, thank you for setting this up.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you.
See ya.